Okay, so in total, like rigging, at least if you do some one or two four-leg character, means quadruped. This is a quadruped model, four-leg characters model. If you do at least two and one or two, like biped, which is human characters, I think that's more than enough for a rigging showreel. Okay, so um, we have completed joint setup and the IK handle setup. So if you have any doubts, just refer to the um, videos, shared videos. So today we are gonna work on creating controllers. Okay, you need to create controllers. That means uh, animators will not select the IK handle and do the movements and all. So rigging artist has to create controllers for the movement purpose. So for that, first thing is I'm gonna save this as another file, which is 74 rigging 3 controllers. Okay, so now for controllers, majorly I'll take curves only. So one curve in the center, I'm gonna make this quite bigger, and I call this as global controller. Okay, naming is really important. First, let's create the controllers, then we'll start naming the things. And I'm gonna duplicate this. I make this quite smaller, and we snap to this point. Means the heel joint is there, right? There I'm gonna snap it, and I will be editing the control points. So I think first thing I'll make it bit smaller. See here you have joint here. This one you can turn it off so that if I try to select also, it's not gonna select. Okay, that's what it is. I turn off IK handles also here. Okay, just one controller. So what I'll do, modify freeze transform, and the pivot point I'm gonna place it somewhere here, or else okay, it's like this. One leg I have created, and I'm gonna place this. I think it's okay. So I select this. edit, delete by type history, modify, freeze transform. Anyhow, I have done it. So I'll not do center pivot. So I'm going to duplicate this V, snap to point, and duplicate this V, snap to point, again duplicate, snap to point. So this is what I did for all 4 legs. Okay. So now we have created something like this. Then I create another curve. Which is in 90. So naming is must, that we'll do later. First thing, we snap to the cog joint. Okay, I need to enable the joint. Okay, and I'm selecting this. I need to make it quite bigger. This is a joint, cog joint, and I'm placing it here. Okay. And I duplicate this. This will be the tail controller. One. I duplicate this here. I make this thing smaller. And I duplicate this here. Duplicate this here. Duplicate here. Like this. Okay, up to here. All these are tail controllers. So what I'll do, I select all this controller up to here, edit, delete by type history, modify, freeze transform. Okay, now what I have to do, I need to rename all this, right? So I'll just go here. You have this rename option. So what I'll do, tail controller. So tail control, you have like this. I think I'll do proper renaming. I'll select everything in a sequential manner. Okay, I think I'll do in an opposite manner. This is a controller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'll just change the name. Great. See now, this is a tail controller, no number. Now this is controller 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. This is a cog controller which will work on it. Okay. I'll duplicate this one over here for this joint. Okay. And this should be a bit smaller. And I duplicate this one for this joint. I duplicate this and I duplicate this. Holding V, like I have just placed these joints and I'm gonna duplicate this. Control D, holding V. This. Okay. Now, just excluding the cog controller. Cog stands for COG stands for center of gravity. Excluding that, for the main 5 joint, I have added 5 different circles. Okay. These are rib part. So what I can do, I can just make this thing bit smaller. Okay. This is a cog, quite big, and I can just do something like this, and I'm gonna duplicate. This is for neck. Neck controller will be a bit smaller, something like this. Okay. Then after this, I'll be creating one more, which is for the jaw part. For the jaw controller. Okay. And after this, one for eye. Let me just place this here, and I'm gonna duplicate, make this thing smaller. So 2 different circle. See, I just placed it like this. Then I'm selecting this. I make it something like this. Something like this. This is for the eye part. Let me place this here. Okay. Now what I'll do, I just turn off the joint. Anyhow, eye candle is turned off. I'm just thinking anything else is required. Yes, pole vectors. I duplicate this. Um, I'll go to control vertex. I'm just selecting the corner of this curve or control vertex. I'm making it something like this. And some shape. I'm just giving some shape. Something like this. Even smaller I do. Modify, center pivot, modify, freeze transform. So here the knee joint which we have considered, right? I'm just taking over there. One here, and I'm gonna duplicate this. One for this as well. I select this to curve, bring it bit front so that it's bit visible up to here. Now I'm gonna duplicate this, and I'm gonna rotate this in minus 180. Okay, so I select this somewhere here. This is for these two. See, for example, this pole vector is for this particular joint. Okay, so similarly, the other. Okay, I think this part is done. So I just turn off the joint and IK handles are off. And I'm selecting this, all the curve, modify, freeze transform. Okay, I'll not do center pivot. Edit, delete by type, history. So it's all done. So we can have a ear controller also just to move. No. So for example, I can duplicate this, make it smaller. We this is for the ear controller, and I'm gonna duplicate this in minus scale. And 40. Okay, I think this controller also done. So I just select this both ear controller. Again, edit delete by registry, modify freeze transform. I think that's enough. So all the curve parts are done. So for example, if I just turn off the character, and if I show turn off the joints, this is how the controllers are looking. Okay, understood by Vanga MD. Any doubts?
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, so far I think only curves. I worked with only curve, nothing else. Okay. We haven't shared any of the influences for this. Means no connections we have given. Just we have created a controllers like a dummy controllers. Now the next step is for adding influences, adding some influence for these controllers. Okay, that is a step called constraints. Okay, so see, wherever I have added, I want the tail animation to happen over there. I want a cog animation. I want this rib animation, the character to move some part. So now file save as another scene. I save as 4, and this is constraints. Constraints. I save as constraints. As you all aware, like in rigging, there are few constraints part and all. When you come over here, there are majorly parent, point, orient, scale, aim. Major constraints, I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 major constraints are there. Okay, and pole vector is another type of constraint. Okay, so I'll show you how to work with this. Hey, Bayanda, morning. Okay, parent constraint controls translate and rotation. For example, you know this, right? Translate and rotate values. Parent constraint controls translate and rotate of the I can say rotate of the target. This is the controller and this is the target. Okay, joints are the target. Similarly, point controls only translation. Okay, only translate. Orient constraints, it only controls rotation. Scale constraint, it controls scale. Pole vector is like, when we raise our hand, when we do some functions, like let's say there is a teacup, when we are picking all that, just notice your elbow, what your elbow does. So just do some action. I'm just taking some mug or something. The elbow movement is there. That elbow movement, that pole vector controls. Okay. Uh, aim constraint. For example, in front of you, there is a butterfly which is, like moving here and there. So you're not moving your head, but only the eye, your eye, you are looking at butterfly. Wherever butterfly goes, you are just, like uh, looking towards, means you are focusing only towards butterfly. What happens in that case? Eye movement will be there, but that means the object, your means the face doesn't move, but eyeball, it stays in the same point. Your eyeball also is not moving, it is staying in the same point. But based upon the aim, based upon my target, which is butterfly, my eyes are, like bit rotating. Okay, so that's aim constraint. So in detail we'll see these examples, but majorly here I am gonna work only with the, maybe, like parent, point and orient. Sometimes for eyeball I use aim constraint. Okay, for this leg, knee joints part and all, I use pole vector. So now let's start with the leg part first. Okay, so what I'll do is, first thing I'll go with this. So here just notice, when I click on, okay, joint, I'll enable. When I click on the joint, the heel joint, okay, reverse heel joint for the front leg, I can move the leg part. See, let me turn off my character. It's even more visible. See, right? Look at this, right? The cat rig, it starts to move. So here the key controller for me is for the, like heel joint. But anyhow, for the animators, they'll not be selecting the joint and do the animation. They should select the controller. So in that case, select the controller, select the joint, select the leg controller, select the heel joint, go to constraint, click on the option box of the point constraint, turn on maintain offset. Maintain offset need to be turned on, add. Now what happens? Yep, I select my controller, leg controller, and I am able to move. I'm not selecting the joint. Okay, I'm just selecting the controller and I'm doing the movement. Now, when I select the joint is having point reverse heel. This is the name of the joint, point constraint. Okay, W stands for weight. Okay, to nerve circle 2. What is the name of this? Nerve circle 2. Before, like working on this, I need to rename these controllers. So nerve circle 2, I'll just take this LT FR. LT means left, FR means front, uh, left front controller, leg controller, left front leg underscore control. Okay, so I copy this. Now see, I select this left front leg control. I select this left front heel point control. Okay, here before giving controller, the name was not given. So that's why it says nerve control 2. So now I'm gonna rename this. So I select this, instead of LT, I just name it RT. RT. Done. Now what I have to do, I select the controller and I select the reverse heel joint to add constraint, right? Select the controller first, then the joint, go to control, go to constraint, point constraint with maintain offset on add. Now I select this, I'm able to move this, right? When I select this joint now, it says right front leg control. We have named this, right? For this we have named before giving constraint. That's why I get the naming also. So weight, it stands for 1. That means influence is there. Okay, there is an influence. If I make it 0 instead of 1, influence is off. See, only controller is moving. But I select the joint. If I add a 1, that is on. Now influence is on. Got it? Any doubts? Any doubts, team?
Got it, sir.
Same thing let's do for here.
No doubt,
So,
sir.
great. I'll just rename this. Instead of front, I name it as back, BK. And I select this. Instead of front, it is BK. And instead of LT, it is RT. Select the joint, select the curve. Sorry, select the curve, then select the joint, constraint, point constraint with maintain offset on, select the joint, select the curve, select the joint, constraint, point constraint with maintain offset on. See what's happening now? I can move my character, the leg of the character. See, you can able to see the cat walk. You can make the cat walk, dance, run, anything. See, you can turn off the IK handle. IK handle work is done. Anyhow, influence of the IK handle, it is moving to joint that we have done in the last class. Okay, that's great. And what is the purpose of freeze transform? Okay, so let's say, for example, I move this controller somewhere here and I do the rotation or do whatever. Okay, but I select this, only translate and rotate value. If I make it 0, it comes back to the default position. This is the purpose of doing freeze transform. Now, why I gave point constraint? That's because, movement is required for my character. Now tell me, for leg part, movement is required. Do we need movement is required for the tail part? Do you need movement? Movement in the sense, see, this joint is moving front and back. Do you want these joints to move front and back when I move the controller? Do we need that? Or what do we need?
We do need, sir.
We don't need movement. What else we need? We need rotation, guys. So for that, what I have to do? Simple. Again, select the controller and select this joint. Go to constraint, orient, maintain offset on, and add. So what happens when I rotate this joint? My controller is moving. Similarly, select this and select this joint. Go to constraint, orient with maintain offset on, add. Select this, select this. The last tool I have taken is orient constraint. I press G. So repeat, to repeat last tool, it is G. I press G. I select curve. I select the joint, G. Select the curve, select the joint, press G. Select the curve, select the joint, G. Select the curve, select the joint, G. Similarly, select the curve. Okay, up to here only required, up to tail controller only required, up to tail control we require. See what is happening now. When I move, this joint is moving and the other joint is not moving properly. There is another reason for that. that we need to do parenting, means child and parent, that we need to do, that we'll do it later. Okay, that's another process. Up to here, any doubt? No worries, fine. Greetings. Okay.
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, shall I continue or do you want to do up to here?
We can do up to here, sir.
Hmm?
We can do up to here.
Okay. Okay, see, for constraint part only, I'm just completed only halfway through. There are still a bit more work is there. And like once we do the rigging and when we do the animation, our cat model will come alive. Okay, means we are giving some life for the character. It will be really amazing. So try to do rigging. Okay, so rigging is bit technical, but there is a process. If you follow the process, this is really like a great task, I can say. Okay, complete this up to here. Anyhow, I have shared the cat model also with you, and this video also I will share. Okay, so just reach out to me if you have any doubts at any point of time. You can ping me, okay, in WhatsApp. Okay,
Okay, sir.
just inform to your friends the importance of rigging. And if you guys feel okay, modeling is not my cup of tea, let's say I feel modeling is difficult or texturing and lighting is difficult, so in that case you be specialized in rigging. Let's say if rigging is also a bit difficult, when you are learning animation, think okay, animation is another specialization. I can be an animator. There are so many areas. In whichever area you want, you can get specialized. Okay, and you can do the demo reel within that only. Okay.
So, sorry, sir.
Yeah.
So it's possible to do a demo read only on a specialized area.
Yes. It is possible. If you want to be a generalist, there are two things. One is journalist, another is generalist. Generalist is a person who knows the entire process. Okay, that's an added advantage. Specialization, if you want to specialize only in modeling, you can do that. I have only my modeling reel is there, only my rigging show reel is there, my animation show reel is there. My first show reel was rigging. I was so expert in rigging. I was not properly knowing modeling. Later I learned by myself. Like I became a modeler, then I lighting artist. You can do that. So just let me know in which is the specialization you want to take. I'll help you out within that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Great then. Bye guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Bye.